everybody. So today we're just going to take a look at 3 different beers using the Sorachi Ace hop, but using different malts. So the first one is the wheat one that I've done 3 reviews on. The second one is using 2-row, and the third one is using Vienna malt. Now, and while I just want to say, they're not 100% the same, because when I made the wheat beer, my rule of thumb is you don't want to go over 25 IBUs. So most of the hop additions are under like 10 minutes. So it's 0.25 ounces at 10 minutes, 0.25 ounces at 5 minutes, 0.1 ounce at 1 minute, then 0.4 ounces 3 days into dry hop. Then for these two, they are using the same thing, 0.25 ounces at 30 minutes, 0.25 ounces at 5 minutes, then 0.25 ounces 3 days into fermentation. So these two are using 0.75 ounces. This is using a full ounce of hops. Why I didn't just go ahead and put 0.5 in for these to make them the same, I'm not sure. So if anything, these are going to be more of a test than this. Also, the wheat one was bottled on 8/18, and the other two were bottled on 10/27. So they're a little over, they're 2 months younger than the wheat one. But I think we should be able to get kind of a profile out of this and be okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and move these bottles off. I'm sure you're going to be able to see them still. I'll try and kind of angle them like this so we can still see them. There we go. Okay, so dog hair. So this is the one that is using the wheat malt, and it's got a nice head on there. The head has stayed around. I did do all 3 of these reviews today separately, so the wheat one should be the warmest as it's been sitting out. But yeah, a nice white head, small bubbles. I still have bubbles rising. Then beer 2, using the 2-row, it's the second biggest head, but there's no head. But lots of bubbles are still coming up. Then the Vienna version is like, let's just say it's like flat compared to these other two. We do have a small white ring around the Vienna version, but that's about it. Now for color. So the first one is the white wheat, and the second one is the raw 2-row, or not raw 2-row, but just 2-row. And we can see that the wheat did not add any, let's say, haziness or protein locked in there to make it hazy. That 2-row is very nice, like neon yellow in color, and it looks the part of a New England IPA. So if we compare the 2-row to the Vienna version is darker. It's more orange in color, and that would be because of the SRM. The SRM on Vienna is going to be a 3, where your 2-row can be like a 1.8 to 2.2, so it's going to be a lighter color. And for the wheat version, going by what I put in Beersmith, actually the wheat is a 3.2. So if we look at the color, my guess is it's from the haziness, but still the Vienna version does look darker. It's got that orange character to it, where the wheat version is more like a golden yellow in color. So let's go ahead and get a smell, see what we can get, see which smell we like the best here. The wheat version has like a weedy dill coming through, maybe a touch of citrus, but I get the dill and that weediness that's coming out of the wheat version, which you should get. Let's check the 2-row. Now the 2-row version, I get some of that dill, but there's a little toasted bread in there. Like a very low dill toasted bread. Nothing big. The aromatics in the wheat are a lot more, and that could be because it's older. But I do get a little lemon out of the 2-row version. Let's see about the Vienna. The Vienna is giving off a tiny bit of dill. I don't know if that's because it's warmed up. You do get a little bit more toasted bread, and that's what I get out of Vienna. So you might get something different, but I get like a little darker toasted bread, dill with some lemon in there. Yeah, the lemon dill in this one, it smells nicer than the Vienna version. I think for the smell test, I would have to go with the wheat version. My guess is it's had more time to meld together, and it smells like, at least versus these two, an older or a mature beer. It could have something to do with that wheat, but the dill, I like the dill smell from the wheat version. So as far as smell, I would go with the wheat version. So technically, the wheat version is 1-2 because it has a head and the other ones don't. Then for the color, I would go with the 2-row. So the 2-row has 1 point, if you want to say that. Okay, let's go ahead and taste. It's got a good mild dill with a little bit of citrus in there. Like a very good summertime beer. It's not that heavy. It does have some body to it, but it's nothing like that would weigh you down. Like on a hot summer day, you could drink this and I think you would be fine. Let's taste the 2-row. Drinking the 2-row version next to the wheat, it's almost like the 2-row is watered down. You get some of that dill on the back. It's the lemon citrus is all wiped out, and my guess it's because my palate still has the wheat in there. Yeah, the body obviously, and it should. It feels lighter drinking it next to the wheat, but the wheat is going to be a thicker body. It just doesn't seem to have as much flavor as the wheat version. Now, let's try the Vienna version. Ah, no thanks. If you watched my regular review on the Vienna version, you'll know why. It's way too much. I don't know if it's the Vienna. I might make just another batch just to see. There, I don't know. It's like way overpowering. It's like I used an ounce and a half of dry hops in there. Like that lemon citrus is just way too much. That dill is way too much. You're getting like some toasted bread in there that doesn't mix well in there. It's bad. I don't want to drink that anymore. For these two, okay, let's go ahead and try again. For this, for the taste, I would have to go with the wheat. I think it's nice, it's balanced. You get some of that wheat, you get some of that dill, a touch of citrus, lemon citrus in there. Um, I believe if you didn't have the wheat and you only had the 2-row version, you would probably be let down a little bit because those flavors just aren't as bold as I would have thought, even if I didn't have the wheat, I think they're toned down a little too much. Maybe some more malt in there would have helped in just thickening it up just a little bit. I think it's a little watery. What's the... Yeah, so the wheat beer is 5.18%, and the two-row version is 6.87%, and it drinks lighter, and that could be because the yeast ate more sugar. And usually what you can do, it could be mash temp too. What you can also do, if you want kind of a thicker body, is mash in a little higher, and then the yeast will not... If you mash in higher, you're going to pull less sugar out of the grain. So by doing that, the yeast is not going to be able to eat as much. So it's going to leave some residual sugars in there, which is going to thicken up the beer. I believe if you wanted to go back into my archives, look at my last peach tree that I made, and that will show you what happens when your mash gets too high. But it almost tastes like the two-row version finished all the way. So it's going to leave us with a higher ABV because those yeast are going to eat more of the sugar. And the wheat version was mashed in higher, so not as many or not as much sugar was released, and that leaves us with a lower ABV but a thicker body, which is kind of, I don't know, I would have to run some more tests, because you think if you're using wheat, you're going to have a thicker body. So maybe this is, I'm just saying, double thick compared to what it should be. Because I do know on the wheat, I did mash in at 154. And I believe on the two-row, it was probably 150, 152. So it is going to draw more sugars and be a higher ABV if everything worked out correctly, which I think it did, because even the Vienna, so the two-row is 6.87% ABV, then the Vienna is 6.89% ABV. So I do believe that in this scenario, the mash in temps were different, so that's why the body is a lot thicker on this wheat beer. Sorry, I went off probably totally in left field. But yeah, I think overall the wheat beer is hands down the winner in this test. I love the color of the two-row, but for the color, you're just looking at the color. To smell the beer, to drink the beer, I think the wheat version right now is the winner. We will start mixing in the Sorachi Ace hop with other hops to just see what we can get. Now, we did do that. If you have not checked them out, we did mix Sorachi Ace with Citra and Amarillo, so go check out that. You can look in my videos, and it should be pretty close if you're watching this in 2019. But yeah, as of right now, this wheat version is the best. So if you enjoyed this video, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And until next time, happy brewing.